My name is Kathy. I'll be interviewing you today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's nice to meet you. Welcome to LSU Medical Center. This is just going to be a very informal interview just to get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about yourself.
I grew up in Baton Rouge. I pretty much spent my whole life there, went to high school and graduated. Then I moved to New Orleans for my undergrad, did my undergrad at Tulane, and then went to medical school at LSU, also in New Orleans.
All right. And why did you choose to go into medicine?
I've pretty much always been interested in it since I was younger, kind of started to explore that a little bit more in college. I volunteered at some hospitals and did some clinic work and things like that. And that kind of reinforced, my interest in medicine and that I wanted to work directly with people. And I also majored in public health in undergrad and kind of tried to learn about healthcare from that side of things and got a different perspective on it from that. And that kind of just pushed me to go into medicine.
All right. So, what kind of skills do you have that you think will be the most beneficial in this career?
I think I'm a pretty good listener and I think I'm pretty patient and empathetic. And I think that those are all skills that you really need to be a good doctor. I think that if patients trust you and know that you're listening to them and can, you know, um, be empathetic to their issues, then you'll have a good relationship with them. And that's kind of what's most important in a medical career.
Have you ever held a position of leadership or supervision in any organization? If so, tell me about it.
Yeah, I was, a leader in a couple of clubs and things in undergrad. I think my most primary position of leadership, I would say, was when I worked at Tulane Center for Public Service. I was a community engagement advocate and held a leadership position on that team. And it kind of just helped me to get to know everyone a little bit better, kind of explore my leadership style a little bit better, and kind of just learn about my team, help me become a better team member, and yeah,
What is your specialty and why did you choose it?
I am interested in specializing in obstetrics and gynecology. I've always really been interested in women's health, and maternal and child health. I think that a lot of times, women are kind of ignored in the healthcare field and we're not listened to as much. And OBGYN is a really unique specialty that prioritizes that population. And that's kind of what made me want to go into it.
Have you ever thought about pursuing a different specialty?
For a little while, I did think about going into pediatrics. I think it's still something that I'd potentially, be happy doing, but I think I just saw myself doing OBGYN a little bit more. I was a little bit more passionate about it. I saw some areas that really needed improvement, and those were things that I wanted to make a change in. So that's why I decided to go into it.
Okay. And how do you handle conflict in the workplace? And tell me about a specific time.
I think I generally handle conflict in the workplace pretty well. I think that conflict in the workplace is just like conflict in any other realm. I think that you just kind of need to take a step back, focus your thoughts, be calm and collected whenever you approach the other person about the specific conflict and the issues that you have. I guess a specific time, it wasn't necessarily related to medicine and it wasn't necessarily my conflict, but I just saw two members of my team when I was working at the Center for Public Service conflicting over different ideas they had for a project and how best to implement that project and move forward with it. And they were just kind of, clashing on what to do. And I think that I was able to kind of, get a third person's perspective on it and give them a kind of way to implement both of their ideas and come to a compromise. And I think that's just the best way to handle conflict is just to, figure out a compromise that different parties can make.
Mhm. So, what is the biggest mistake that you've made over the course of your medical career, and what did you learn from it?
I think the biggest mistake that I've made over my medical career is just stressing myself out with the pressure to figure everything out myself. I think that in medicine, healthcare is definitely like a team effort. And the best way to figure something out if you can't do it yourself is just to ask for help. For example, if you can't figure out a patient's diagnosis, it's gonna waste time and effort if you just sit there and stress yourself out by not being able to figure it out. I think the best thing you can do in that case is, consult a peer, um, get their opinion on it and try to come to something together, maybe consult a few other people, because in the end, it's the patient that matters, not whether you figure it out yourself. And in the end, that saves the patient time. And, I mean, yeah, then you come to the conclusion together as a team and everybody wins in that case. You don't have to figure everything out yourself and you'll just stress yourself out doing it. So it's better just to ask for help.
Right. So would you say you're good at working under pressure?
I would say I'm decent at working under pressure. I haven't always been great at it, but, I've just kind of had to practice a lot and the medical field can definitely be a high pressure situation at times. And, I think the best way to deal with that is just to keep practicing and, not to psych yourself out too much and just um, you know, try the best you can whenever those pressure situations come up.
And how would you go about relaying bad news to a patient?
I think it's all about, just once again, just taking the patience or having the patience and taking the time to understand them and be empathetic towards their situation. I think that if you, kind of put yourself in their shoes and kind of understand what they're going to be going through with the bad news that you give them, then you can kind of just, be a little gentler and be empathetic towards them. And I think that that'll help, soften the blow a little bit and help them to really understand that you're there for them and that they can trust you and that you'll be there for them throughout the rest of the process with whatever the bad news brings.
And lastly, what are some of your professional objectives or goals?
I think my professional objectives and goals would be leaning more towards the public health sphere. I think that I would like to help alleviate some health disparities in my community and try to work on tackling, barriers to healthcare and equitable healthcare. Yeah,
Okay, well, thank you so much. That concludes the interview portion. And once we go over your application again and finish interviewing the rest of our applicants, we'll give you a call and let you know about the position. Do you have any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and we'll get back to you soon.
Thank you.